Sharing our rates is the critical first step to building collective power. Secret rates allow the industry to persuade individual freelancers that they are getting a special deal, or that publishers' lowest rates are the best they can do.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Whitney, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the arts, and before I let you get to that, I wanted to mention that, you know, I am a member of IATSE, International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, and, you know, our international sent out an action alert yesterday about what's happening in Congress when it comes to next year's funding for the National Endowment for the Arts, NEA, and the National Endowment for the Humanities, NEH. So, you know, it wasn't just IATSE, it was SAG-AFTRA, Actors Equity, American Federation of Musicians, and other unions are all urging people to contact their representative to ask that they join the bipartisan group of House members supporting increased funding for both the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Endowment for the Humanities in the next year's budget. And, you know, these grants support job opportunities for union creative professionals in every state while providing all Americans with access to enriching programs that lift up local economies. And some of these grants actually come with important workplace protections. And, you know, they support good paying, family supporting jobs in every congressional district. Even folks working in the commercial side of the industry benefit from being able to develop their careers on NEA and NEH supported productions. So ultimately, the unions are pushing for even more funding at $1 per capita each for these programs. And they also mentioned that, you know, the federal arts and humanities are good for local economies. Studies find that each person who attends a live nonprofit cultural event spends $38.46 beyond the cost of admission on travel, dining, shopping, and other event-related purchases in local communities. And additionally, you know, these programs, they help veterans, they help, you know, young people who want to get involved in the arts, and it helps deliver content that unites people across small towns and big cities. So, you know, lots going on there in Congress with the budget. This is one area that, you know, maybe won't get as much attention, but it's certainly important to the folks who are working in the arts. And, you know, you had some other art news going on, Whitney. What else is going on in the arts and labor world?
Yeah, so first of all, the Freelance Solidarity Project, which is the digital media division of the National Writers Union, recently closed their year-long rate sharing challenge, where freelance writers were encouraged to enter publications' different freelance pay rates into a searchable database that can be found at freelancesolidarity.org. And a statement, they said, secret rates allow the industry to persuade individual freelancers that they are getting a special deal, or that publishers' lowest rates are the best they can do. We know neither of these things are true. Although federal regulations make it complicated for us to collectively bargain, we can build campaigns drawing attention to unfair rates. Sharing our rates is the critical first step to building collective power. Workers and unions routinely start the process of negotiating higher rates by learning how much each member is earning. That work is foundational for us, too. And I think, you know, as you are a labor reporter, you know how hard journalism and writing and putting things together really is. And currently, a third of working journalists are freelancers. So think about, like, where we are getting our information from these days. These people deserve to be, like, reliably paid, or else it just continues to be an exclusive industry where people from working class roots can't get ahead. So this is a really, you know, helpful thing. I think people would be surprised how little, like, very big publications pay and how little transparency there is. And so this is, like, a really crucial project for working journalists, freelancers, writers to be able to establish, like, some security in this industry.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
You mentioned, like, the exclusive nature of journalism in some ways, where it's hard for working class people to get into this industry. It's hard for working class people to survive on freelance rates for years, right? Without health care and without a stable retirement pension and, everything that goes into just having the stability. But, one thing I have noticed in recent years is the spread of unions in journalism and in the media. And I do think that has helped. It's helped in some respects, obviously, for the workers themselves, right? More security, more power on the job, being able to win more protections. So that's been exciting. But also, I think it's honestly helped the labor movement's coverage.
Yeah.
I think there are more reporters out there and journalists out there who have now been exposed to the labor movement in their own workplace.
Right.
And now, there's more folks who are kind of appreciative of it or understanding of it. So I do think that's really important. So like there are multiple ways we benefit from it, right? The more the journalists are organizing, the better they can win for themselves, but also like it kind of helps us as a movement for them to have those experiences and to, experience firsthand the power of collective action and solidarity.
Absolutely. Finally, the Doris Duke Foundation announced artist rewards and also a campaign to protect creative labor. Just, a little side note is that I think when people think of like contemporary or modern art, they think of stuff like the, banana taped to wall that like sold for $6 million. And most artists are just like working individuals that are trying to figure out how to get by. And so including artists in the labor movement, I think, is crucial to continue to make arts equitable, but also to open up doors for, other workers to be in community with artists. And we have historical precedent for this from the Artists Union, which started in the Great Depression, which led to the Federal Art Project of the Works Progress Administration, and to the current iterations like SAG and WGA and IATSE. So a lot of great American art has been created with the support of organized labor. Willem de Kooning, Jackson Pollock, Jacob Lawrence, all very famous visual artists that got their start during the Federal Art Project. So this is not a huge jump when we're talking about getting more labor protections for artists. Basically, all our entertainment comes from artists of some sort, and it's important for those people to be protected by, if not unions, then other forms of organized labor. So that the Center for Cultural Innovation is working on securing labor protections for artists. And also when we think about art and labor, is we're not just talking about artists. All of the people that work at cultural institutions are also workers. As we talked about earlier, the Speed Museum in Louisville recently filed under UAW. The Museum of Modern Art in New York, the Whitney Museum in New York, are all unionized. So we're literally talking about like organized labor when we talk about art. That's the, people checking you in. That's the security guards. That's the people hanging the paintings. Those are the curators. There's really like a wide range of people that I think are tremendous assets to the labor movement.
Yeah, absolutely. And last point I'll make on that, I know we've got our guest waiting in the Zoom. The last point I'll make on that is like I'm going to be working a little bit on Les Mis as it comes to Huntsville. And I think about all the union labor that goes into a big production like that, from the actors to the musicians, to the behind the scenes crew who are putting together the lighting and the audio and the video and everything that goes into a big production. So, really appreciate that. And we've got to unionize the artists, obviously.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.